Racial tensions are building on the university campuses of Yale and Missouri. Right now, there are great protests over racism that is taking place on those campuses, particularly with regards to death threats, very serious death threats that have been issued against protesters. Now, a lot of this really began with racist Halloween costumes. It was told that people should not be doing this. It's offensive. It's racist, which it is. One administrator stepped forward and put out an email in defense of those costumes, saying that he wanted to promote freedom of speech. Now, the students took major exception to this and began a huge, gigantic protest movement over it. In all the furious debates that took place, this professor, which I will give him credit for, came out and actually argued with the students. He actually discussed his reasons for doing what it is that he did and why he's defending the position that he did. Now, one of the really important things here is something said by one of the students, where the point of an administrator, the person whose job it is to watch over the university, is not to create intellectual spaces.
The exception is because other people have rights too, not just you.
Walk away. Walk away. He doesn't deserve to be listened to.
Unsafe space here for all students. Stay quiet! For all students. You understand that? As your position as master, it is your job to create a place of comfort and home for the students that live in Silliman. You have not done that. By sending out that email, that goes against your position as master. Do you understand that? Then
no, I don't agree with that.
Then why the fuck did you accept the position?
Because
Who
I have
the fuck hired you?
I have a different
You
vision
should
than you.
step down. If that is what you think about being a master, you should step down. It is not about creating an intellectual space. It is not. Do you understand that?
That actually is his job. A part of post-secondary education or higher education is to create intellectual spaces. However, the costumes were racist. The problem here lies in that the students are attacking the wrong thing. Yes, they're racist, but what they should be arguing is that the costumes are racist and that it should not be allowed. Not arguing against what this guy's position is, because that would be laid out in some kind of charter somewhere, some kind of job description. Merely saying that you're trying to change someone's job from trying to promote free speech because you do or don't support what's being said is wrong. The issue of racism itself should be what is tackled. That's a problem with liberal debate. That's a problem with liberal action. It does not go to the root cause of racism. It goes after superficial manifestations of it and attempts to punish those. It goes after individuals, not the systemic system itself. This is the bourgeois mentality. You don't question the system. You don't go after a system that is systemically racist. You go after individuals. Now let's talk about Melissa Click. Now, she is a professor that threatened to have a student beaten up or forcibly removed because he was attempting to cover the protests, because he was a reporter covering the protests that were taking place on his own campus.
Hi, media. Can I talk to you?
No, you need to get out.
Well,
you need to get out.
No, I don't.
You need to get out.
I actually don't.
All right. Hey, who wants to help me get this reporter out of here? I need some muscle over here.
Now, what happened here is that someone prevented the media from looking at a situation, which is completely nonsensical. And what's really baffling about this whole situation is that he was a student reporter from the very school where the protests were taking place, and she is a professor of journalism. That's right, a professor of journalism just attempted to keep someone from doing journalism. Now, here's the apology that she posted on her Facebook. I regret the language and strategies I use and sincerely apologize to the MU campus community and journalists at large for my behavior, and also for the way my actions have shifted attention away from the Students' Campaign for Justice. I find this apology largely hollow. She did step down from her job after this happened because she most likely would have been, and justifiably so, fired. Someone who teaches journalism has absolutely no business from preventing journalism from taking place. And on another level, it makes absolutely no sense. If you are a protest movement and the point is to get your message out there, why would you then block people from attempting to report on what you're doing, which would get that message out there? It makes no sense. Now, these seem like tiny little isolated incidents, but there is a real problem here. There is a difference between wanting to stop racism and outright making an overt attack on free speech. You don't have a free speech right to be racist, but you do have a free speech right to cover what's going on, to get what's happening out there to people. That's the point of media, one of the points anyway. That's where the danger is, because it's starting to become a point where that kind of stuff is starting to be seen as acceptable. There can be no question that racism still exists in society today. Halloween costumes that mock or degrade ethnic minorities is unacceptable. Racism in society should be combated. However, these actions represent a very dangerous trend. You can't just stop the media from reporting on something. Isn't this what George Bush did when he refused to allow reporters to report or to film or photograph the coffins of dead soldiers coming back from the Iraq and Afghan war? Because that kind of thing is a downer and not something he wants the people to see, because then they might start opposing the war. This same kind of thing is happening now. It's not directly the same thing, but it is the same kind of mentality that's behind it. It's completely, it violates the very principles of freedom of speech. And this student claiming that a university is, or that the administrators of higher education are not there to create an intellectual space is on many levels terrifying. That is the point of education, is to create an intellectual space. Do they want to protest racism? Yes, they absolutely should. And they should be making that argument. However, to say that the point of of the administrators of higher education is not to create an intellectual space is outright anti-intellectual. And there is absolutely no doubt that there has been a tremendous anti-intellectualism that has swept the United States. In fact, may have been pretty much always a part of it. That's what's frightening here, is that the issue over what's racist and why it shouldn't be happening is being ignored. And these overt attempts to silence free speech and to even silence, intellectual debate are frightening. And that's not a part of what a free society is. One of the complaints made was that there was allegedly, because no one's come out with proof of it, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt that it actually did exist, that there was a party and only white girls were allowed in. Okay, is that racist? Yes. Is that okay? No. But what exactly do you want people to do about it? Do they want the school to go in and start legislating people's private parties? These are the same kinds of people who advocate monitoring and policing other people's conversations. But this is crossing the line. What this is ignoring systemic racism and attacking individuals. Why attack a racist system when you can attack individuals? Capitalism itself perpetuates racism. It perpetuates divides against people. But nobody's talking about that. People want to attack individuals who are racist, not the source of the problem. They want to attack the symptom, not the cause. And what are we going to end up if we continually have this? I mean, these people are asking for for some kind of authority to step in under capitalism and regulate people's conversations. But this is absolutely frightening. What kind of Orwellian hellhole are these people asking for? They're not asking for society to change. They're not asking for a new system which would eliminate these problems. They are asking for some kind of authority to step in and monitor people and control them. They don't want change, they want control, and that's the problem. Largely, there is this straw man argument that liberals want to take away freedom of speech and that they're becoming Nazis themselves. And for the longest time, this has been a ridiculous straw man. But these few incidents here demonstrate how that is possible. Is it happening? No. But this is how it can begin. Because they attack the symptom, not the problem. That is the problem with liberal Western society. Nobody wants to change the system. They only want to change the things that the system does. And what do they end up with? Nothing changing. All they end up with is more rules, more bureaucracy to enforce those rules, and not having anything fundamentally change. We should be shooting for a society where we don't need coercion to fight racism, because racism itself is being dealt with. Not the manifestations, but racism itself. But these people don't want that. They're liberals. They just want more coercive mechanisms, not a solution to the problem itself. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of them, then head over to my Patreon page and show your support. Or you can go to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share on various social media.